Hey, how about we sell your pottery? It looks pretty good.
You look pretty good.
Hellbenders is one of the shows that got away, something that came so close existing on a network, but disappeared in the blink of an eye. So what is the legacy of the show, and what happened with the cartoon? It's been 11 years since it first came out, and I think it's high time I talked about it. Hello, I'm Ryan. And we're gonna be bending some hell. We're gonna take the hell and then bend it. The creation of Hellbenders starts with its two creators, Zach Hadel and Chris O'Neill. For Zach, he was born March 4th, 1993 and grew up in Kansas. He started posting Newgrounds April 22nd, 2008, as well as on DeviantArt, though the latter disappeared from existence with nothing left to see. He would go by the username Psychic Pebbles and be known for his parodies. His first video on YouTube would be making fun of video bloggers. You know, the people who sit in front of a camera and talk about stuff they found on the internet. Honestly, not much has changed, and we actually have more of it now of streamers, though the video has since been deleted from his channel. You might be more familiar with his arrow to the knee meme from 2011. Okay, so the joke is, there's an NPC in Skyrim, and he says, he used to be an adventurer like me, and okay, you know the rest. Well, Zach was sick of it and made this animation.
Let me warn you, if you ever type that fucking sentence again, I'll know.
And he would be known for his distinct voice, which is caused by severely deviated septum, something that he is opting not to fix.
My little turn on the TV to hit the Pentagon!
Chris O'Neill was born November 21st, 1990 in Wexford, Ireland. He created his Newgrounds account April 28, 2006, and made parodies as well. His earliest cartoon on the website would be Halo Combat Erected, with a description that reads,
I hate this cartoon. Don't watch it. The only reason it's still here is because Newgrounds won't let me delete it.
He'd be most known for his 2010 series, Leon Satan, co-created by Sean Keeley. It follows the exploits of the Prince of Darkness and a small child. It only lasts a year and has 7 cartoons, which is still impressive even to this day. The cartoon of itself has a cool history I'll save for another video. So like, comment, and subscribe if you want to talk about it in depth, and if you're liking the video so far. Thanks. By 2013, Oni's channel reached 240 million views and was the most successful channel from Ireland at the time. Can you imagine that? Like, the people of your country going, there he goes, that Oni fella, making the nation proud. That was just, what accent was that? Chris and Zach would meet on Newgrounds and start to make cartoons together. The earliest known one would be for Rip Steve Jobs, parodying the death of the co-creator of Apple computers back in 2011. And with the cancellation of Leon Satan, Chris would partner with Zach to make one of their most known series, Hellbenders. The first teaser of Hellbenders released August 17, 2012, called Ice Cream. The cartoon features self-inserts the duo Chris and Zach trying to get a dessert, though weirdly enough, the short is only available on Psychic Pebbles' YouTube channel and not his Newgrounds page. About 2 months later, the first official shorts of Hellbenders would release, this being Appaloosa, though the original title was going to be Bitch Applease. This one includes an intro as well as a logo showing off the then website. Expanding on the premise of the first, it features the two living together and having an emphasis on horror, either in clay that sucks out the life of people, or a talking tree that eats children?
Somebody help me, please!
Ah, yeah! With the help of the Newgrounds friends, they brought these characters to life, following it up with a Christmas episode. In this one, they go around spreading cheer to their neighbors. Some Christmas cheer. And it ends with a nice rendition of Silent Night by Jason Page. This causes Jesus to thank the boys for saving the holiday. And you may know Jason from his work for singing the Pokemon theme song. The short snippets at the cover would be so popular, the singer kept getting requests to make a full version. And so 6 years after the cartoon released, to fulfill that request,
I have had more requests for an extended version of this song made popular by the Hellbenders Christmas episode than any other song I've ever done. For the past 6 years, at least once a week.
Early designs of the cartoon characters would be less refined, and it would be more of akin to how Oni and G used to draw. Chris's original design was going to have a black shirt with a white hooded figure, to which he assured it was not the KKK. If you had gone with that design, making merch the characters would be not so good. One would say, you know, not so good. And they did have merch at sharkrobot.com. It had catchphrases from the cartoon, which was the style at the time. The original house's design was going to be reused assets from prior work. Zach would animate a short for Tom Ska, which features the unused original house. In the original credits, it would have had vocals by Dan Avidan of Game Grumps fame.
They have banks and banks of fan mail. They're famous, so I guess they should. Ooh.
and the ending credits theme song would be loosely adapted from Jitterbug by Wham. The original website for the series, Hellbenders.tv, would feature updates about the show as well as comics that have since been lost to time. But now we get into the tumultuous history of trying to make this cartoon a network show. Now, after they finished and uploaded the Christmas episode of Hellbenders, some people from Hollywood contacted them and wanted to hear a pitch for a show. Chris and Zach went to Los Angeles, California for a week in January 2013. Around this time, they talked to Shadow Machine, the people behind Robot Chicken, on if they wanted to work for them on the show Trip Tank. It could have suited their style as it was a sketch-based cartoon series, though they would pass up this offer to focus on their own works. February 14th, they announced they pitched to Adult Swim, and they'd had to wait 2 weeks for a call. During this pitch, they didn't have much to show, only having a piece of paper of what the idea would be. They even accidentally wore the characters' respective outfits to the pitch. One of the executives even noted it was cute that they did that. However, 2 weeks would go by, and Adult Swim would turn them down. At the time, they'd have too many Hell-based shows creeping up on air. As for the shows, this would be Your Pretty Faces Going to Hell and Mr. Pickles. Zach lamented that the show wasn't exactly Hell-based, but they sought to keep pitching elsewhere.
They decided not to take the show. Put down your torches and pitchforks. Their reasons weren't for quality reasons. They really like Hellbenders. Chris and I are back, and so is Hellbenders and Hellbenders TV. I'm going to start uploading comics here again, put some extras and fun stuff for you all to enjoy. Chris and I are back working on Hellbenders and have quite a few planned.
The original pilots would be 15 minutes long and take around 4 to 5 months to create. It'd only be an animatic because you don't have to put your all in the first go around. If they had gotten picked up, a proper pilot would have been made and focus tested. During this time, the two would think about what the actual series would be about. It's trying to pitch two guys doing wacky things doesn't give a lot of ideas to the networks. Regular show comes to mind, but they have a clear pitch.
The surreal misadventures of two best friends, a blue jay and a raccoon, as they seek to liven up their mundane lives as groundskeepers at a local park.
Part of the whole pitch negotiations was the concept that they retain the rights to the show. Think of the creator of Sam & Max, Steve Purcell. He doesn't sell the idea for his characters, but rather licenses them out to different places. On the official Hellbenders Facebook page as late as 2016, clips of the pilots would surface, but info would still be very sparse. In a since-deleted update video released the same year, Zach would talk about their progress with pitching the show. They had signed with a talent firm and completed all the work they had to do. They essentially left it up to them to try and get their foot in the door. They had partnered with Studio 71 and Explosum to create the finalized pilot. A year later in 2017, the hacker group Armine hacked Chris and Zach's network and made a lot of channels' videos public. This included the unseen pilots, which was quickly downloaded and shared. They put on their YouTube channel to easily share and pitch. Though Vimeo and Dropbox are also other ways to share things with password. Oddly enough, one of the early releases of the pilots would be heavily trimmed down for no reason. This caused people to misjudge what could have been for the pilot. A few months later, Zach would head to Reddit to clarify a few things.
Chris and I always worked on Hellbenders by doing rewrites and redoing lines until we found the perfect balance. The original version of Appaloosa was awful, but we edited it down heavily and moved things around. It's why I feel so weird about having this up. It's like looking at a half-cooked meal and saying, "This looks awful, I wouldn't eat this." I'm totally fine with people not liking the project, but at least wait until it's done.
Eventually the full version of the pilot would leak, much to fan acclaim, though some comments noted they felt a 15-minute episode show would not have worked for the characters. The pilot would be called Zachnophobia. It would revolve around a dirty house and a spider taking over Zach's face.
I have to go powder my...
Oh, that's weird. Zach never has to powder his...
Back in the websites, they said that although the first episode is joke-based, the rest of the episodes would have been story-driven. As an aside, back in a 2014 video update, Zach said during the time they'd been turned down for pitches, they probably could have made 5 more shorts of the series. In 2014, Chris would make an update video. Within it, he talks about signing contracts to work on Hellbenders for 3 years in America. He also noted that working on YouTube is very difficult right now, so if you can put out stuff, it'd mostly be storyboards.
I'm gonna still upload stuff whenever I can. It's just not a main focus anymore, so you'll be seeing probably less, like, you know, crazy animated stuff that takes ages. It's more so stuff like storyboards and stuff like that, because that's all I'm gonna be working on for the next 3 years. It's gonna be kind of tough to juggle work.
Hey, could you stop?
Hey, quiet down. Hey,
Stop! Hey, dude! Stop!
hang on a sec. Hold on.
Updates for the show would be more sparse, aside from, well, merchandise. Back in 2018, pins of this cartoon have surfaced under the oneyplays moniker. Zach would say,
Yo, this is literally the last Hellbenders related merch we're ever planning to put out. Buy it here if you're interested, old chum.
Then October 31st, 2019, they'll sell plushes of the characters. I actually have them, and find it a bit weird to own. You know, to have physical merch of an internet series that almost got a show based on 2 real people is an oddity you don't see quite often. The original cartoon narrator, Joshua Tomar, would return to voice for the merchandise advertisement.
This is the Hellbenders Hellbenders plush pre-order.
However, since then, the show will be on indefinite hiatus. With the series past its 10-year anniversary, let's take a look at where the creators are now and what they have to say about the series. It's tough letting go of something you worked on for so long. Back when they had the 2018 merge, Zach would say this about the series.
We're moving on to greener pastures and want to explore new ideas. Wanted to give people one last chance to show support before totally closing the books. I don't like stuff that seems to hang around forever. It's sad, but there's something nice about officially ending something. I still feel like we obviously could have done more with Hellbenders, but only time will tell if that will ever materialize. R.I.P. until then.
To put in perspective, at the time of release of the first cartoon, Zach and Chris would be 19 and 21 respectively. The people that they were when they first started and the landscape they're first introduced to has vastly changed. To try and recreate the same humor even tone the original series would be near impossible, or something they'd be interested in. When burnt out on a project or idea, you can always shove it back to come to it later. But sometimes, when you can't do anything more on a project, you have to move on. Learning from your experiences to shape your future works, the best outcome for creations like these. In a 2019 interview with the Create Unknown, Zach talks about Hellbenders.
I did a show called Hellbenders. I did a little web series called Hellbenders a couple years ago. Ending something like that and putting it aside and starting something new, continuing to move on, is not easy, but you have to go, okay, if that was really my peak, if that was really my best idea, I shouldn't really be making anything. If I only have one good idea, then what the hell am I doing? And so I sort of use that to motivate me, where it's like, it's not easy to throw something away. Again, even if you're sticking with the same project, it's not easy to say, I'm not going to change that idea. You know, I think, but I think to sort of tell yourself, well, if I can't make it better, then what am I doing anything for?
The landscape of internet-based cartoons has changed a lot. Back when they first started, YouTube favored views compared to watch time.
Any type of content that's required any kind of creative editing or acting or special effects, animation, anything, any kind of really creative endeavors took a hit, because you could spend a month or two on a video editing and doing all this work, and if your video is 2 minutes long, get 1 million views, you still weren't going to get paid as much as somebody who was churning out, 15-minute videos every day for a month.
And for animators who more frequently post, they've opted more for rigs more so than traditional animation, though of course it's still frame by frame. After ending the era of Hellbenders, Chris and Zach would dive into new projects. For the former would be oneyplays, a Let's Play series featuring the voice talent of a lot of Newgrounds creators and collaborators. This would be the likes of Corey, Thamar, Julian, Ding Dong, and many others throughout the years. Zach would show up once in a while, giving some of the funniest moments of the series.
Shut up.
Where did you get to me? You're not the woman I married.
Chris would pursue 3D modeling for his upcoming game Bulbo. It's about a witch who captures Bulbo's dog Bing Bing, and it's a claymation-like platformer he's been working on for several years. As for Zach, he would do some industry work for SpongeBob. This would be season 11's The Girl Is Done, where we see some of his well-known funny faces. He would then partner with Australian animator Michael Cusack to pitch a new TV series called Smiling Friends. It pitches to Adult Swim in 2018, and a pilot was greenlit. The pilot would air April 1st, 2020, as part of Adult Swim's April Fool's Day. It was widely acclaimed and would be immediately picked up for a series. The show follows employees of a small company dedicated to bringing happiness to a bizarre yet colorful world. Michael would have his foot in the door working with Adult Swim, as he worked on Rick and Morty's Bushworld Adventures. You know, the one where it's Rick and Morty, but in this universe, they're Australian. Remember that one? But going back to Smiling Friends, and collabing with Michael, it gave them a new style of humor not seen in Hellbenders.
I would definitely recommend collaborating with people too. Collaborating, in my opinion, especially as an artist, like when I collaborate with Michael, he has different sensibilities than I do. When I collaborated with Chris O'Neill for Hellbenders, I got a way different. You're always gonna get a different flavor. It's like this is really a fucking weird reference. I deserve to be shamed for this. But did you guys ever play Kirby 64, where you can suck into different stuff and it's like gets different combinations? It's like that. I don't know. I like that about art.
And Chris will still be part of the show, doing voices, creating 3D models, and even composing some music for the production. His most known work would be for the ending credits theme. For a series like Hellbenders, it's part of the legacy for creators like Chris and Zach. Growing up, I did watch the series, and was excited for something more. In the world of animation, we don't always get what we want. However, in saying that, this isn't to say that it was a failed effort, nor were the talents wasted. It gave the creators an opportunity to pitch, create a pilot, and work with many wonderful people along the way. To see the pilot in short remembered after all these years shows they have what it takes to create something long-lasting and impactful. I even asked my audience what they thought about the series.
Still return to watch Hellbenders every year. It still holds up.
Would have loved it back in the day if it got turned into a series, but I'm glad they both moved on. I love Smiling Friends, and I'm excited for Chris's game Bulbo. I watched it back in the day. It was one of my first contacts with that type of humor, and believe it or not, it is part of where I learned English from. English isn't my first language, and the only way we had to watch animations like this was in the original language. There wasn't a fan dub or fan sub in those times, at least not with things that weren't super popular here. So I had to guess what they were saying and slowly understood what they meant using what was on screen.
It's pretty cool to think that this cartoon series would be the first introduction to the English language. This cartoon.
You have nice titties for a little boy.
Chris, I don't like this.
Me neither. We should bounce.
As for the newer works of Chris and Zach, they're still beloved by fans new and old. Zach's newer animation Get Out of My Car would vastly surpass his Skyrim parody and rests beside Hellbenders as his most viewed cartoons. Oneyplays inspired many new artists to animate by drawing the funny scenarios the gangs like to talk about, and it's never been easier to get into animation. With drawing tablets becoming so cheap and better options than Blue Yeti, I actually recommend the Rodent USB. It's nice and cheap. It's nice to see that after all these years, the works of the creators are still inspiring others to draw, especially for smiling friends. A cartoon so successful, when aired all the episodes of season 1 in one night, it made it within the top 40 in cable ratings for Sunday premiere in the 18 to 49 demographic. I don't know what that means. Getting their foot in the door of the industry is always great to see for online creators. It shows that the hard work of online animators can even be appreciated by the likes of network heads. Also the fact that Smiling Friends was animated primarily in Flash, something they and many Newgrounds animators have used since the dawn of the internet, or at least since 1996. Perhaps in another timeline, we would have Hellbenders of the show. In the end, Hellbenders is another cartoon series the internet won't forget, and it'll be something we always come back to and enjoy for another small outing. I look forward to what Chris and Zach do next, but until then, I'm gonna rewatch Hellbenders one more time.
Boys, you saved Christmas. Also, I'm Jesus.
Thanks, Jesus. Jesus.
Hey, thanks for watching, and be sure to support me on everything. Literally, everything. My Twitters, YouTube channels, and Patreon. Also shout out to Valentine Bay VA, who did the voice lines for the video. Great stuff. Also go check out my animated podcast, Assault as JJ. Ooh, we're moving.
Yeah, it was a long scene where Captain America was like, I gotta kill these people. And the Hulk was like, we can't Hulkatastic do this, my man.
It's really weird you don't remember that scene, but if you go back and watch it, it's there.
Until next time, keep on drawing, and don't forget to have fantastic.